Hi, this is Tiffany Sicard with HomeKey Mortgage, and you're listening to Local Leaders, the podcast. Every business owner has a story. Let Jim Chapman tell yours.
It's Mardi Gras season and Premier Credit is ready to throw you some cash. Any loan, any reason, and fast. For more information, call 225-667-8100 or apply online at premiercredit.com. Premier Credit, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
Hi, it's Trisha Johnston, residential realtor with Ladder & Bloom with your real estate tip of the week. I get asked by buyers and sellers what the difference is between an inspection and an appraisal. They're two very different things. The inspection focuses on the condition of the property. A home inspector will inspect the structure and all the major systems of the home, such as an air conditioner, heater, water heater, plumbing, electrical, and the roof. If the home inspector sees something that needs a more in-depth inspection than they're able to do, they may recommend that a licensed contractor come out and take a better look. Even though it's not required by a lender, I always recommend that buyers have a professional home inspection done to make sure they know what they're buying. A home is such a big investment that a home inspection is money well spent. Next week, I'll talk about appraisals. If you have any questions in the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm Trisha Johnston with Ladder & Bloom, and I'll be back here next week with another real estate tip for you.
Where's Janet?
It's high energy.
Does it stay here?
Yeah, I'll take it. All right, Miss Tiffany Sicard, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
So let me first say welcome. This is your second appearance on Local Leaders, the podcast. Now, your first time out, we covered, a lot with regard to your history in the mortgage lending world. Your first appearance was a little less than a year ago. But my, how things have changed for you in that amount of time. So we're going to discuss all of those changes with HomeKey Mortgage, some of the honors you've been bestowed with over the past year, and get your thoughts on where we're headed in the housing market in 2021. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So first, I want to talk a little bit about you. You've been in the mortgage industry 23 years, and you have worked pretty much every position you can work in the mortgage industry, correct?
Pretty much. Started from the bottom, worked all the way through pretty much every channel.
Yeah, so that's a huge advantage, especially, I would imagine when you're dealing with a mortgage broker. So how important would you say experience is when dealing with a mortgage brokerage?
I think it's very important just to where you can know everybody's position and understand it a little bit. No matter where you are in, it's important to understand everybody's positions and how they work. That way, if something's not working properly, you know how you can adjust to accommodate to maybe help it move more smoothly.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, it's one of those things in life, it's your biggest purchase, is your house typically. Yeah. And so you want someone that has a lot of experience to kind of oversee that loan process, because it can be daunting. I mean, most people buy, a house or get a mortgage a few times in a lifetime. So it's, I'm sure, daunting. And so that experience, it really plays a big role in that. Now, leadership has also been kind of a key focus in your personal growth. 2019, you participated in Leadership Livingston, the famed program right here in Livingston Parish. And I wanted to know kind of some key takeaways that you had from leadership.
It was very eye-opening, just for the simple fact you see people in your everyday life and you see, them at work, and because everybody pretty much these days don't get out and see people in their jobs and what they're actually doing. They just kind of know what they do, kind of know the person in passing, unless they're, a little closer in their circles, I guess. So just being there with all the people that attended my class was just a real eye-opener, because some people may take someone and see them a certain way, and then when you actually have that conversation with them and you get to know them as a person, it's a whole lot different than seeing them from a distance. And it was a lot of folks in there that shared a similar story, such as mine, and it was just an honor to actually be able to go through that program and learn those things about those people, just about our community in general. Like, I lived here my whole life, and there were things that I learned that were here, and I was like, how is that here? Like, there was one thing that, like, just kind of was close to home and kind of touched my heart, and it was the literacy center. And everybody's like, oh, it's just a literacy center. To me, it's a little more than that, because if you know the actual history behind it and what actually brought it here and why, it actually affected a lot of people. What actually contributed to a large amount of that literacy center actually getting here, where the funds came from. Yeah. Construction plant that caused a lot of people hardship, and some folks lost some people. And I was upset at them. And then when I went through leadership and found out that actually that company had to do something good back to the community for the bad that it did, and the literacy center was part of that, it was kind of like, wow, I was upset at this, but look what we got out of it. Look what Livingston Parish got out of it. Look what we're doing for these kids. And so it was just a real eye-opener.
Yeah, I agree. And you were in the 2019 class?
Yes.
Yeah. I was in 2020, and I agree with you 100%. I mean, the relationships were huge, just getting to know people that, were well known in the community, but you only knew them from maybe a business side, and so many lessons to be learned from Leadership Livingston. And one of the interesting things about that program is the projects that everybody participates in. What project did y'all do?
We actually did the Dave Ramsey course. We helped incorporate it into Walker High School.
Fantastic.
Since then, they've actually incorporated it into a few others.
Yes.
Another thing that's been so awesome about that, I have another child graduating this year, and he's actually this semester taking that course. So that's kind of a proud accomplishment to look back at, that my youngest son is actually learning, and he comes home every night just so excited. Right now they're learning about ways to invest their money, and so they were all given like this fake money to put on the stock market. So like every night he's like, hey Mom, this stock's doing this stock's doing that. And
that's awesome.
so it's just awesome to, see that and just know that I was a part of that.
Yeah. And it's a huge thing. It's when you go into college, the first thing they do is push credit on you. Mm-hmm. You've got Visa and MasterCard at these, when we could have, fairs for college, and they would set up these booths. You would have all these credit companies just pushing it down these 18-year-old kids' throats. Get this card, get that card. So it's good to learn those lessons early on how important it is to control your credit, or pay off debt, not accrue debt. And when you're young and you're in high school, you haven't started accruing it yet. So it'd be a good time to learn not to. And in your field, it's the perfect project in my opinion, because later on in life, you deal with that. You deal with people who maybe are a little bit too high on debt compared to their income. And I'm sure you're an expert at telling people this is what you need to do, to qualify, and those sorts of things. So that's an awesome project. Congratulations to your entire group for that. And
from humble beginnings in 1989, Big Mike's has long been a place for friends and family to gather for lunch, dinner, and drinks. Big Mike, Jocelyn, and their friendly staff invite you to come in and relax in one of their spacious dining areas, or watch a game on one of the big screen TVs. Big Mike's is a place to meet old friends or make new ones. Big Mike's offers daily and nightly specials, and they specialize in serving up delicious and fresh menu items. Big Mike's offers a catering menu for large groups and has private party rooms for up to 100 guests. Whether you're planning a quick lunch or a large family dinner, or just a night out with friends, Big Mike welcomes you to experience a great time. And don't forget to grab some t-shirts, caps, or koozies in the gift shop. Oh, or a bottle of Big Mike's Honey Dijon. It's delicious. Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill. We're kind of a big deal.
And you were also awarded with the Above and Beyond Award, which is, for people that aren't familiar, it's basically your peers vote for who they feel went above and beyond on their project. You were a recipient of that. How did it feel? How special was it to be recognized for your work, specifically from your peers in that group?
I was very honored. I didn't expect it. It's just who I am. I love helping others. I love seeing other people succeeding. And so I was just doing what I do on a normal basis. And whenever I actually got the call about it, I was just like overwhelmed with joy, just that people actually looked up to me, for what I was, trying to contribute to our class.
Yeah. Well earned, and you are such a giving person, especially when it comes to giving back to your community, and you just have a nature with that, and so well earned, great project. Your giving back nature kind of continued after Leadership Livingston in 2019, and if it wasn't enough, you also formed another kind of giving back project, and that was the Cajun Ladies Crisis Team. You helped form this. Tell us about this program.
Actually, one of my agents that I deal with on a day-to-day, actually met her about a year ago, and we just kind of connected. I really wasn't even going to go to the closing because they had just announced, the whole COVID thing, and the governor was giving his speech and everything, and I was like, you know what, this might be my last closing, so let me just go. And I went and I met her, and we just kind of shared our story and our passion and what we do, and we just kind of connected on that level. And then all of the booms and bangs of everything that was happening last year started happening with this hurricane after hurricane, and she was like, hey, I've got some people that, want to put some stuff together and, put some boots on the ground, and let's go do some, some good. And I was like, that's an awesome idea. I think we can do this. We put together this organization, and we've been putting boots on the ground ever since, whether it just be the hurricanes and devastations from that, whether it just be a bad storm come through, like our ice storm that we had, and just really anybody who's in need. If we have the sources there that's been donated and contributed to us, we go wherever it's needed. A lot of people forgot about Leesville after one of the storms last year, and we actually drove down there on a Sunday with a few boxes of gumbo and about 300 hot dogs and some pans and burners, and we went out there and we delivered supplies to some of the folks down there, and we fed them. Dawn Seafood actually donated the gumbo to us, and a couple other places donated some stuff, and me and Sandra got it in her truck. We loaded everything up. We got down there, had a few other ladies that went with us, and put our boots on, our rubber boots on, and we got out there in the mud, and we had a lady down there that actually lent us a spot. It was probably the cleanest spot down there. She had a little seafood shop, and we set up shop and fed some people and gave them some cleaning supplies because they had no water, no electricity. I think oftentimes some of the smaller communities are forgotten when it comes to things like this. I think that kind of happened in Livingston a little bit in 2016.
Indeed.
So it's all about helping those little folks, get their spot on the map too, and making sure that they know that they're not forgotten. And that's what we did.
That's awesome, Tiffany. And what a worthwhile thing to do. And we, you mentioned 2016 here and the flood that we all experienced. And so we've kind of been there. And let me tell you, an organization like the Cajun Ladies Crisis Team is something that is so needed. And sometimes you don't realize that until you're in the position where you need something like that. So shout out to all of you. For all the listeners out there, they do have a Facebook. Go give it a like. And that way you can keep up with if, they love volunteers. Yeah. And if they're looking for that, they'll give you a shout out on Facebook, and maybe we can all help. Casey, have you called the plumber about the sink in the break room?
Yep, they came this morning. I can't believe you missed them.
What was their name again?
Giat's Plumbing.
Wow, that was quick, and they did a great job.
They did. And when you need plumbing services of any type, give Giat's Plumbing a call. With over 50 years combined plumbing experience, the team at Giat's Plumbing can handle all of your plumbing needs. So whether it's residential, commercial, new construction, or reconstruction, give Giat's Plumbing a call at 907-6282 and get scheduled fast.
Giat's Plumbing, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. As strong as 2019 was for you personally, the momentum just kept going with you, Tiffany. In 2020, you were chosen to receive the Women's Leadership Award by the Livingston Parish Chamber of Commerce. Now, what did this award, which is a huge, huge honor here, I think there was only 4 or 5 ladies chosen for that award, and you have to exemplify a huge amount of leadership to get that award. And there's, of course, 100 ladies that are deserving of that, but you were one of about 5 chosen. And tell me what that meant to you.
Out of everything that I've accomplished, I think that was probably very high on the charts for me, just being surrounded with the other women there. They were also incredible, and just again, what an honor. Like, let's see, I lost my mom very young, and that was the first time that I actually met Ms. Zoe, and she was actually one of the other recipients of the Women's Leadership Award. And I'm really glad that I didn't see her until after I gave my speech, because I probably would have lost it worse than I lost it there, because I'm a big crybaby. But I went to her for some legal advice in regards to my mom when I was younger, and that was probably the first time I met her. And I was just, a lot of people always used to tell me growing up, smile. And I was like, I'm smiling, And I was thinking, just everything I was doing 100 miles an hour to help everybody, putting smiles on their face. I wasn't realizing I wasn't smiling myself. Yeah. And so she saw that in me, and every time she's seen me, and she was, hey, remember to smile today, breathe. And so she's probably a huge factor into where I am today, because she was somebody that recognized that in me and actually, went that extra step. She didn't have to, but she knew what I was going through, and she kind of mentored me there. And so just seeing her there and knowing that I was given such an honor at the same time she was, and then just Michelle serves on the leadership alumni board with me, and committee, and she got it, and just listening to some of the other ladies' stories and what led them there. And I just encourage everybody, take 5 minutes, listen to someone's story, because no matter what vision you may have of someone, it's really not what you think. There's really something that's led them to be that great. And I love your podcast and everything that it's about, and just the fact that you dig in and you let others know people's story. And it's not just about, oh, I'm a leader in my community. It's the story and all the adversities that they went through that got them where they are. It's their story. And
Yeah.
I have another girlfriend that says it all the time in some of the lives that we do. And she's like, people need people. And it's true. They do. And just, I encourage everybody, just listen to someone's story. Don't just be so quick to judge and be like, oh, yeah, this person got this award, this person got that award. To me, it's not about the awards. You can give me every award in the world. If I'm not making somebody smile today, that award doesn't mean anything to me, because what's important to me is that I put that smile on someone's face, because that may just be what they need to make it through, because you never know what someone's going through.
I agree 100%. And you do make people smile every day. And, and that's awesome. So, BJ Pawn and Gun in Denham Springs wants to buy your unwanted gold jewelry, gold coins, and gold bullion. With 30 years of experience operating in the Livingston Parish area, BJ Pawn wants to be your source when selling your gold. So stop by BJ Pawn today for a no-obligation offer. BJ Pawn, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. So I was there and I saw, and you did get a little emotional there, and it was a very touching thing, because you could see what that meant to you, and I was very happy for you personally, and glad I was there. It's also worth mentioning you're extremely active in other areas of the community as well, right? You're a chamber ambassador. You serve on the leadership Livingston alumni committee. You're active in the chamber's letter program. You're a past member of Rotary.
Yep.
And your most important role is you're a mother to 5 kids, right?
Yep.
And so the obvious question is why? Tiffany, why do you commit so much of your time to your community outside of your business?
It all goes back to what I was just saying.
Yeah.
There was a few people in my upbringing and all the adversities and all the cracks in my foundation growing up that they were my mortar. Talked about that.
Yes, we have.
And it's all about showing somebody that no matter where you come from or what you've gone through, that there's somebody out there that's willing to go that extra step, mile, 10 miles to help you. No matter what you go through, you can rise above it. We all have cracks in our foundation if we think about it.
Yeah.
And it's just finding those people that help you fill it, and that way you can have your foundation that you need to move on. And
I agree. And it's interesting that sometimes the crack in that foundation is the most beautiful things about somebody.
It is.
Because regardless of how strong somebody may appear on the outside, sometimes those cracks are the appeal, because you see that they've overcome something major. Sometimes those cracks are the most beautiful thing, and people avoid mentioning that they might have cracks in their mortar, and they don't want anybody to know about that. But I say be proud of those cracks, because
Absolutely.
when you come out on the other side, other people can see that and relate that maybe they can get there one day. That's just my 2 cents on that.
Absolutely.
But I will say that in your questionnaire, I asked you to provide a why statement. And it resonated so much with me that I wanted to quote it. And basically, you said, I set out to do everything I was told I couldn't, my whole life could not be done, to be the change and to lead by example. That resonates with me a lot. And I wanted to ask you, would you say that attributes to your drive? You have a very unique drive with you. And would you say that's a big contributor of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a lot of people look at my situation and tell me, oh, you lost your mom very young. You don't have a dad. You don't have this like we do. You don't have that like we do. I'm like, that's okay. I don't have it right now, but I'm going to get it. And I'm going to be something. And I'm going to make sure that every adversity that I went through in life, I'm going to take that and make myself stronger. And I'm going to either be my own mortar or find those who want to be part of my mortar and help me get my foundation back straight to where I can become somebody that my kids can respect, my kids can see and know my story and want to be part of it. And they're my biggest cheerleaders. I mean, anytime I ask them to do anything, they're like my number one fans. They help me so much. And just looking at them now as young adults, I mean, I have 3 that are basically going into the world right now, and just seeing them and reflecting. And I'm like, hey, you know what? They turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
Did an okay job there,
Yes.
And it's just awesome. And they're the same way as I am, as far as wanting to give back to their community and lend a helping hand. And I've always taught them that that's what it's really about. It's not what you can get, it's what you can give. Because, that just may be what someone needs.
Yeah, I agree. And, doubt by other people can sometimes be the best motivation.
Absolutely.
And, especially when you're growing up and maybe you're not in the best of circumstances, and maybe people, just don't take you serious and turn that into a motivator, young people, and use that as something. Nobody determines your worth except you.
Absolutely.
And so that's a great lesson to learn. You are absolutely a poster child for that. And so we'll get into that a little bit. I also asked you about your ability to overcome obstacles and what you did to overcome them. Now, in your personal life, you grew up without either one of your parents. Financially, you classify yourself as poor. In your business life, you have been passed over for promotions, even though you had the qualifications because you were female. And you were overlooked for promotions based solely on maybe educational requirements, where experience and real world knowledge weren't even taken into consideration. Yet, through all of that, you've overcome it. How did you do that, Tiffany?
Just the drive of trying to prove that I was going to do something somebody said I couldn't do, and just to set out to show not only my children, but other people out there that may be watching, those that may be paying attention, that you don't have to let your circumstances define you. I see time and time again, kids that go through same situations as I did, and they use it as an excuse of why they're not where they want to be. And I'm all about results. Like, don't tell me why you can't do it. Tell me how you're going to do it, or how can I help you do it? There's always someone out there, I promise you, that is willing, if they just know your story and they know that you need something to succeed, they really do want to help you. There really are genuine people that have no ulterior motive for lending a helping hand and wanting to help you, that just really, truly want to see you succeed.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. And, you know, I mean, it's an amazing thing what drive, not listening to maybe what other people say, and just kind of putting your head down and hitting it, you know, getting after it. It's amazing what that will do for your success, because you said it yourself, you know, we determine our worth, nobody else does. And so young people take note of that. William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance in Denham Springs can service all of your insurance needs. Offering auto, life, health, and commercial insurance, William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance is a proud supporter of Local Leaders, the podcast. As well. Lastly, on you personally, and then we're going to dive deep into HomeKey Mortgage. But I asked you what characteristics you feel a leader should possess. And you stated, in order to lead, you must first learn to water the seeds of your community. So true. How important is it to give back? You know, we talked about that earlier, but just from a perspective of your own, I guess, your own well-being, your own, you know, giving back just feels good, right?
It does.
And the benefit, you actually see that in your community, right?
Yeah, because I guess in my statement there, it's just a lot of people come here, they have businesses, they have jobs, and there's things going on in their community. And those people within that community are the people that it's your bread and butter to your business. And if you're just taking in that business, and you're not giving back, and you're not offering to show them that, hey, you're willing to put back in the investment that they've put into you, I think it just helps people get to know you. It gives more of the personalization to it, and just gives that kind of the final touches of your mark that you're trying to make and what you're doing.
I agree. And, you know, it's my belief, and I learned this through Leadership Livingston, that you're not really a leader unless you give back. I mean, that's kind of what leadership is all about in the end. When we're young, Tiffany, and we're chasing it, it's all about being first, right? I don't care what industry you're in, whether you're competitive, not competitive. I mean, you want to kind of be first. And so that contributes to the drive. But then you get older, more mature, and you realize, wow, that's not what it's about, because I learned to give back, and through giving back, there's nothing like that feeling to me. And Leadership Livingston taught me that. And I'm very, very thankful for it. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. So if you're in a position to give back, and it doesn't have to be monetarily, it could be, you know, just your physical, you know, going out there and just helping build a fence for somebody that's in the need of a fence. Do it. Yeah. Do it. It's really a big sign of a leader. So let's talk about HomeKey Mortgage a little bit. First and foremost, HomeKey Mortgage made some pretty big moves in 2020, a pandemic. You opened your second location, which is in Denham Springs, in addition to the current location you have in Hammond. And when many businesses in Livingston Parish were like furloughing employees, things like that, you folks were actually adding to staff. You increased to 8 employees at one point. What do you think was the key to the growth of HomeKey Mortgage during 2020 when so many businesses were struggling at that time?
I think just the drop in rates, just people trying to figure out a way to save money because they weren't making a whole lot of money, or they were getting cash out refinances to, kind of set up a savings fund, trying to prepare for things that they thought may happen in the future, things that were coming, just preparation.
Sometimes it's just good to be in a business that's flourishing during that time. When COVID hit, we were never, ever busier in the paint business.
Yeah.
It was absolutely on fire because when people are at home and they can't go to work, they look around and realize their walls are ugly.
Yeah.
So I can relate. Yeah.
Getting refinanced to get the cash out to do that. And
absolutely. Good point.
And the fact that rates were so low, some were able to do so and keep their note either where it was or lower and still be able to do the things they could do because they had the time on their hands because they were working from home. They were seeing the things that they wanted to do. They just didn't have the time to do. And when you're stuck at home, sometimes you're able to find that time.
Yeah, that's right. That's a very good point. Yeah, those refis for just home improvement stuff, because guess what? Now I can build that shed that I've been wanting to build for 2 years. I have the time. So now all of these things combined with HomeKey Mortgage's support of the community led to some very large personal recognition that was capped off with you and your partner, Kyle Tallow's business as the Livingston Parish Chamber Small Business of the Year for HomeKey Mortgage, an award that I was honored to present to you personally. Your success in 2020 is an amazing thing. You just continue to grow, Tiffany, and HomeKey Mortgage is it's worth mentioning that you went from a smaller office to a larger office now. Tell us where you're currently located in Denham Springs.
We're currently located at 113 South Range, Suite 140. Yeah. Some may know where it's at. We're by the GameStop and the Pizza Hut and across from Ron Seafood. Yeah. So everybody's eating crawfish right now. So get your crawfish and come on over and talk to us about a mortgage.
Yes, absolutely. And this space enables you to offer many amenities to those that are entering the housing market. You have room there to where you can hold seminars, these home buyer seminars. And
yeah, we have a huge room where we can allow for social distancing and do first-time home buyer seminars. Me and one of our office managers for the other business within our suites gotten together, and she's began a Mortgage 101 to where we can start educating some of the agents in our community of just the general knowledge of being able to have the understanding when they are talking with a buyer of what programs that might be available and who might be best suited to help them. Because a lot of people go in thinking that they know what type of mortgage they want or what they want to do, and they don't realize that there are other options that are out there and available to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great for these realtors to be educated on that too, because everybody has their expertise. And I've known realtors that I've asked questions to related to the financing side of mortgages, and I've had realtors tell me that's not my field.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Send them to me.
And that's a pretty good realtor when they say that. If your realtor's jumping all over you, acting like they know everything about home financing, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. Maybe they do, but talk to an expert. Talk to someone that does it every day, because there is a different side to that.
Absolutely.
You
Same
know.
thing goes for, like, if somebody asks me about paint,
Yeah.
go see Jim, because
Yes.
I don't know
love
the
it.
colors. I don't know what happens. That's not my lane. You want to know anything about a mortgage? I don't.
Yeah, I'm not
say I know
talking
it
to them
all.
about mortgages.
I don't. I don't say I know it all, but if I don't know it, I'll find out the answer. But yeah, leave it to the experts. But it's still, good and handy for them to at least have some general knowledge to where they know how they can guide their client to make sure that they are getting the best deal as well as the best program that's for them.
Yes, I agree 100%. And so keep an eye, for all of you that follow me on Facebook, because as they do these seminars, I'm going to be, promoting those on my social media as well, so that we can really get the word out. Now is the time, more than ever, to support local business. Elisa Verrett Interiors and Custom Workroom is working hard to use made in the USA products for all their clients' window coverings. Schedule your appointment today for a consultation on Roman shades, drapes, shutters, outdoor sunshades, and even woven woods. Need a virtual appointment? No problem. Call Elisa at area code 225-955-1135. Elisa Verrett Interiors and Custom Workroom, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. You also have a room in there that y'all are going to use as a media room, kind of do a lot of, promoting as far as market trends and news in the real estate market and those sorts of things. So it's a great upgrade in facility there. You had a nice facility before, but this is just more space and stuff, right?
Yeah, more space, and again, with the whole social distancing, you had us extroverts that were working from home, and we weren't doing well. I
can't relate to that at all.
We need to be out. We need to be amongst people. We need to
Yes.
see human life, and so this gave us that availability, and it gave us. I think it's going to be a big part of us making our mark here in Livingston Parish, and being able to have that space and be able to meet with clients and have them come in, here in our hometown, and just have that one-on-one personability. I actually had one of my classmates from my class called me yesterday, and she's coming to meet with me tomorrow. And it was just so exciting, because she was telling me how happy she was for me. And I was like, I'm just so excited for you. You're going to buy your first house. And, she's not a young chicken, but, she's going to do it, and she wants to do it. And she called me up, and it was just, again, an honor, that she thought of me, and I'm going to get to reconnect with her and, help her through that process. And just goes back to, I guess, why I've been so successful in this, is that I really do care. I really, to me, it's not just about having another loan underneath my belt. I want to make sure that experience is the best experience, to where you're going to tell your friends, you're going to tell your family, because when you're referring back to me, you're referring back to that agent that may have referred you to me. And so they're going to get that business. I'm going to get that business, and we're all going to be growing together. And so it's just a great opportunity that we have there with the space that we have, and able to build my team. And yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. And you really do care. And we're going to get a little into that. But I want to get into HomeKey Mortgage's role in the mortgage industry. Now, not everybody, is knee deep into mortgages. And like we discussed earlier, some people, it's a once, twice a year, lifetime process. So give us a little rundown on what a mortgage broker does.
Mortgage broker is different than your average mortgage company, because we actually have a lineup of different lenders that we can actually look at for you and your situation. So basically, I look at every mortgage like a puzzle, and it's something that we put together, me and my team, and the homeowner or the the potential first-time home buyer or home buyer.
Yeah.
And I just taking all of their situation and being able to not just have it all in one box of this is the only programs that we have available for you. We have a whole slew that we can, because we have several lenders. So whatever this one don't have, this one may have, and we're able to better structure around the client's needs versus just what may just be there with some red tape on it. So, because every loan is different. And I mean, in my 23 years, I haven't seen one loan that was the same. All of them are different.
Everybody's situation is different.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
So being a broker, it just allows us to be able to open up that box of, okay, you don't fit in this box, so we can't do your loan. We have several different lenders that we deal with that if you don't fit in this box, we're going to find one that best suits you, and we're going to make sure that you're getting the best deal while we're doing it for you.
Yeah.
And it just opens it up for more options. And instead of just having this line of rates for this program here, we can actually shop it across several different lenders that we deal with to make sure that you're getting the best deal and the best rate that's suitable for your situation.
So that's interesting. So you actually take, you used a great term, which was it's like a puzzle, and you're laying it out, and every person you're viewing as an individual, and their circumstance is an individual circumstance, and you're laying it out and saying, here are all your options based off of your situation. Because you're right, everybody is different. You can have the same credit score, work at the same place, make the same amount of money, but there's something different about every individual, and that may affect, what their rate or their note or whatever is going to be. So that mortgage broker can break all that down and really show you, I'd imagine you conference with these people and you kind of show them on paper that here's one option, here's option number two, and all those sorts of things. So your slogan at HomeKey Mortgage is, we are the key that opens the door to your dreams. And in the past, you and I have discussed the importance of building relationships with clients, right? You're extremely passionate about that. Tell me how important it is to you to build a relationship with your clients where they understand you genuinely care about making sure that you're with them through the entire home buying process and even beyond that.
Just making sure that they understand and just educating them through the process and understanding how it works and what you may need. A lot of people in my industry just kind of give the short form of what people may need to purchase a home or refinance. I believe in giving them the whole list of this is what you need. If applicable, this is what else you may need, just to where they know. Because you can have a conversation with someone, and again, when you're taking someone's application, you are just checking a box and asking questions. But what me and my team strive to do is we try and actually connect with the borrowers and kind of learn their story a little bit, because there may be some things that isn't a box that needs to be checked that can change their whole puzzle and how their loan or their situation needs to be structured. And
that's a great point.
And if you're not having that conversation with your buyer, your borrower, I hear a lot of horror stories, people saying they get a week, 2 weeks from their closing date, or sometimes even just a couple of days for their closing date, and they find out I'm not closing because something came up that the lender found out that they didn't know. And if they would have just asked a few more questions, or maybe provided a little bit of a longer list that may have sparked a question of that borrower, or just having that conversation with that potential buyer or homeowner, that question may not have came up, or it could have came up, and it could have prevented that, because there's a lot of people banking on that deal, especially on a purchase, closing and making sure that you close on time, because that seller may be wanting to close on their new home. And if you go through 3 weeks or even 4 weeks, a month, and you're ready for this closing, and all they need is their funds from their sale, and then all of a sudden they find out that the buyer is not able to close on their home, that can put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And so you want to try and have all of those conversations up front, and just I tell my clients, I'm like, this is the time that you tell all, like,
yes.
Let's get it all worked out now, and that way we know how we need to structure it, we know how we need to address it. And then just having that conversation with, if I have any agents that are involved in the transaction, and letting them know, hey, you know what, John and Mary here, right now, I think we have this worked out, but I just want to kind of let you know that we have this situation. We've addressed it. I think we've got it all worked out, but it may cause something down the road. Just communicating that with all parties, to where they at least know that you've acknowledged it, and that you are communicating with all parties, to where you're not just holding something back, and then, like I said, you get a week or 2 weeks, and sometimes even a couple of days before closing, and then you find out you can't.
Yeah.
That way everybody at least knows that, hey, they took the initiative to find out that we may have this problem. They're already working on a resolution, and everybody is aware. And that way you don't have things that come up last minute that, could cause a big stink on the whole transaction, and kind of put a bad taste in people's mouths.
Agreed.
You want it to be a happy experience. And again, it goes, I think I said this earlier, it goes back to the experience. It's not just about the loan. It's actually about the experience, and you're not doing justice to the agent that may have referred you that buyer, or the friend or the family member that may have referred you that client. You want to be able to continue that relationship and continue those referrals for not only yourself, but for that agent, that realtor, that friend, that family member. And you want to do good by them, because they thought highly enough to you for you to refer them to you. You want to make sure that you make good on their word for sending you that referral.
Yes, I agree. And two takeaways from that I just took away. Number one, bad things happen to good people, right?
Right.
And if you know those circumstances, you can help them. Mm-hmm. Too often people become numbers. So they become ones and zeros. So you're a credit report. That's what you are. You're a credit report, but nobody knows what happened. That's where a good mortgage broker will rehash that with these companies and say, hey, man, you need to know about this. This person's daughter had cancer or something, pick a tragedy or something. But there are extenuating circumstances sometimes that if you don't make your broker, in this case, aware of that, they can't help. But if you do, they can. And so this is a really good reason why not to buy from like a Rocket Mortgage or go on Rocket Mortgage, and because you're a number. You are they're seeing your credit report and they're saying, oh, here's your 1 minute of pre-approval and all those sorts of things, knowing absolutely nothing about you except for what your credit report says. But at Tiffany Sicard, she's going to find out. You're going to sit down, you're going to talk, and that girl is going to she's gonna really grind the pavement to get you financed and taken care of and get your dream home or whatever it is you're after. If it's an easy process, great. If it's a hard process, no problem, right, Tiff?
Right.
Yeah.
And when we were selecting our team and building us in our growth, we wanted people that shared that same value as us. So everybody in our team, we have a motto. We don't believe in turning anyone down. We turn them into a solution on, okay, you may not be able to buy right now. You may not be able to get the loan program that you want right now, but this is what we got to do to get you there. And if you're willing to work with us, we're going to help you get there. And so we make sure and send them with a plan, at least to where they know. Because a lot of times people they're like, oh, I applied somewhere and I just haven't heard back from them. And they go and apply for somewhere else. And then they go apply somewhere else. And I keep getting denied, but I don't know why. And so we find that why for them. And because you don't know what you don't know. And so if you have someone that's willing to sit there and go over it with them and help explain to them, what they need to do or why they may not be getting approved, I think that goes a long way with people. And I think that's something that's really made us successful in the agents that we do work with. We have longstanding relationships with, because they saw that in us and they know that we're going to take care of their buyers and we're going to educate them on what they need to do to get where they want to be.
Jim, we're swamped with these podcasts, and I'm in the mood for some local barbecue for lunch.
Barbecue? Casey, the problem with barbecue is the speed. That would take forever.
Not at Buddy's Barbecue. With the drive-through line, they can get us fed fast, and that sauce, yum.
It is right in the heart of Denham Springs. Do they have specials?
Yes, they have plate lunch specials every day, Jim. And I bet you didn't know they offer some of the best catfish plates you've ever tasted on Fridays. And on Saturdays, they have smoked ribeyes. They are as flavorful as you can find anywhere.
Okay, I'm hungry. What's the number? I'll call it in.
No, just go online and place your order. By the time you're finished, I can head that way.
That is convenient and really smart.
Yep, just like me.
A local business, and you know what I always say.
Oh, yes. Jim Chapman loves local.
Correct. And that makes me smart.
Oh, please. If you're in the mood for barbecue, go see Buddy's Barbecue at 105 Florida Avenue Southeast, right in the heart of Denham Springs. They're a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
Tiffany, so I'm going to take you back a little bit. Take you back to 1992, I believe it was. And I was playing in a football game way back then. And there was a really popular guy from Catholic High that was a quarterback by the name of Warwick Dunn. And we were pretty good there at Broadmoor High School. And so we were scrimmaging them. And my claim to fame throughout all my high school years was I caught that sucker from behind. And he was a little water bug and an All-American. And back then he played quarterback. He ended up playing running back for Florida State after that, and then went on to the NFL. Warwick Dunn is a guy known in this community very well, having come right out of Catholic High School in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But you have a really good story I want you to share with us about Travis Smothers, who is his brother. So let's share it. Tell it.
Well, it's back in 2015. 16, somewhere up in there. I met Travis. He came to me for a loan, and this guy was just so full of light, so full of joy, and just so much energy. And I was like, wow, this guy's contagious. He's just so awesome. And when he first came to me, I was like, your name is so familiar to me. I was like, I haven't put it together yet, but your last name, something about it. I feel like I know your story. And so we sat in my office for a little while and we talked, and Matter of fact, I did know his story a little bit. Travis's mother, and if anybody knows anything about Warwick, Travis is one of his younger brothers that he had to take care of after a huge adversity that he had to go through in his life. Sitting there talking to him and just hearing the things that he had gone through, and just, why he chose to be happy and not allow it to overcome him and all that dark. He just chose to, kind of like me, we shared similarities, to just share the light and just smile and just be happy for another day. And he lost his mother at a very young age as well.
Betty Smothers.
Yes, Miss Betty Smothers. She was a police officer for Baton Rouge City. You can read a little bit about it if you, Work Done's got a book, Running for My Life. It's awesome. It is so awesome. Done a couple of loans for a few of the other siblings as well. And they're all just, if you meet any of them, their energy and just their will for life. I mean, it's so amazing just to know that someone, it was a little different story than mine. I lost my mother to cancer. They lost their mother because someone decided to rob a bank, and she was serving her community. She was doing what she loved, and she was supporting her children as a single mom.
Working, overtime.
Working overtime.
Deposit.
Yeah, and she paid the ultimate sacrifice, and her kids could have chose to, a lot of people do that go through tragedies and adversities in life, and say, well, I wasn't able to be like this person and have this and have that because I lost my mother at such a young age to such a tragedy, or have a bad taste in their mouths about law enforcement and just people in general. But they didn't do that. They chose to take the good from it and make a legacy for their mother. And what a legacy Warwick's done, what a legacy Travis has done, and just all of them together. It's just amazing. I share social media with them, and all of their stories are just so amazing. And if you meet any of them, they're just so full of energy, so full of light. And it's just amazing that they, even though some of them were relatively young when it occurred, that they all just share that joy and that light. And they choose to just spread that joy and that energy to others, and share their story, because he didn't have to open up to me. He didn't have to tell me that story. And it was just so awesome to be a part of that and be able to help him. He was looking to purchase a house. He was about to be a dad. And so he's shared his stories, and we've communicated and talked since then, and we've stayed in communication. And it's just amazing that he's still open to share his story with me even after his house. And it's just so awesome when you meet someone like that just has so much energy and light, and you really want to make a difference. Yeah. And I was able to help him, and little did he know he was helping me too, because it just to be able to connect and know that, there are other people out there like me that, have found their mortar, have found their reason to build up others instead of tear them down. Yeah.
And, you said the perfect statement there which is what a legacy he left, to his mother, in his mother's memory. And I would go as far as to say you qualify for that as well. What a legacy you've left. And you're not done yet, right?
No.
If you're unfamiliar, which there's not a whole lot of people around here that are unfamiliar with Warwick Dunn, but he's an amazing individual who contributes a huge amount to this community. through different charities and things like that. We raise them right in Louisiana.
Yeah, we do.
When it comes to giving back, and we're so thankful for Warwick. Tiffany Sicard with HomeKey Mortgage combines the experience and knowledge you need to make your mortgage loan a smooth, stress-free process. Reach out to Tiffany for more information on the vast mortgage programs available in the Livingston Parish area. Tiffany Sicard of HomeKey Mortgage, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. Talk a little bit more about stated income or income stated asset mortgages, or what they call SISA.
SISAs. Ninas and SISAs.
Ninas and SISAs, which Ninas are no asset, no income, no asset loans.
Yes.
That led, a lot of these led to the 2008 mortgage crash. You were around during that time in the industry. What did you learn from all of that?
If something sounds too good,
Probably
is.
There's no doubt about it.
There were a lot of those Ninas and SISAs. It was no income, no assets, stated income, stated assets. It was basically you had a credit score, you were able to get a loan, and you didn't have to provide anything. And I know that's what a lot of people, the biggest stress probably in purchasing or refinancing a home, they're like, just don't have time to get all those docs together. Well, most of your stuff's online now, so you can just save it to your desktop and send it or upload it into our secure portals and things like that. So it's really not that big. It's just sometimes it can be a little time consuming, but we're helping to stabilize the mortgage industry and keep that from occurring again.
Yes. And regulation has really increased since that time.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there were programs out there that would lend 125% of your house's value. And, I mean, we were honestly, who am I,
Yeah.
But, I mean, you could see what was going to happen eventually. You want to be able to set people up for success, not failure. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. If you're not properly educating a borrower or a homeowner about their loan and the reason why you're not doing something versus why someone else is, they're like, oh, yeah, ABC company can do this. Why can't you? And I'm like, well, they can do that. But however, this is why these regulations are put in place, and we want to make sure that things that happened in the past don't happen again, and that you're able to qualify for something. And in the event that a hardship does happen, that you're not at your max and you're not going to lose your home.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that you're able to. And that's a big investment, and you're going to be paying monthly for it, and that's something that you're going to hopefully eventually own one day. And if not, then it's going to be something that you can sell and, purchase the home of your dreams, your forever home. This is something that you are potentially leaving for your children later. So this is like a family investment. So you want to make sure that it's your hard-earned money.
Yeah.
We don't want to set you up to lose it.
Absolutely. And so you can rest easy knowing that HomeKey is going to really take care of you in that process and make sure that, they set you up for success and not failure. Now, we touched on this earlier, but I want you to discuss your team a little bit and how vital that entire team is to the success of your business.
It's very vital, and it's making sure that I guess this goes back to leadership, is making sure that my team feels like a team, and that's what we are. So anyone that comes to work for us, we make them take the disc. Because we want to kind of know where everyone's strengths are. again, you don't know what you don't know. And so we want to find out, just kind of where everyone's strengths are, make sure that they're fit and they have the same goal as we do. And that's helping and educating the borrower. We don't want someone that just wants to come in there and say, oh, yeah, you can make really good money doing mortgages and come in there just for a paycheck. That's not what we're about. We want it to set out for a team that shared the same values, like I said before, as we did. And so the team that we have now, we're not going to the table with, I thought of this or this person thought of that. It's we thought of that because we want everybody sitting at the table.
Yeah.
And I believe in round tables because we're all there together. It's not just, I have a couple employees, they're like, oh no, she's the boss. And I'm like, no, I'm your teammate. We're a team. Because without you guys, I can't do what I do. And
Joe Burrow is not Joe Burrow without everybody else on LSU's team, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so whenever, like I said, we were setting out to build our team, we wanted everybody that kind of shared that same value, and pretty much we just looked for the hustle and heart in everybody.
I love it. And you have a great team there.
Yeah, we do. 3 months ago now, I hired a young lady that started with us, Allie, and
she's awesome.
Oh boy, is she awesome. She is my mortar. And actually I did her mortgage about 5 years ago. That's how we first met.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. And her and her husband were a first time home buyer, and we kind of became friends and stayed connected. And about a year or so ago, she got in contact with me and told me that she might be looking for a change. She worked for another mortgage industry type, and she was looking to get into mortgages, and I sent her some information, and she took the classes, and she passed her test, and so she was like, I can't think of anybody better to mentor me than you. And what I didn't know is that she was really going to be mentoring me, because I've learned so much from her, and she's so amazing, and she's so vital to our team as well. And yeah, so
she is. She's an amazing individual, and actually an awesome Words with Friends player as well.
She told me
she has quite the vocabulary.
Yeah, she told me that she thought she'd be a little bit more impressed in your skills than that. She thought you were going to be a lot better.
My words are bad. This game, my words are bad. But anyway, yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But yes, you have a lovely team over there, and everybody's so knowledgeable. So rest easy knowing that everybody at HomeKey Mortgage can take care of you. Now, the assumption from folks outside of the mortgage lending industry is that if you want the best possible deal on a mortgage, you go to your bank, right? You go to your regular bank, and that's where you're going to find the best deal. Is that true or false? I would say false.
I would say false. Because again, every loan is different. And a lot of your banks and other companies out there, not knocking any of them, they don't have all of the programs that a broker or another mortgage lender out there may have.
Right.
And so you want to be able to make sure that you have all your options on the table, all your puzzle pieces out there.
And that's really the key, right? Because a bank, they have their programs, and that's what you're going to see, where a mortgage broker is going to show you several banks programs, for example. I mean, They're going to show you, it's kind of like they're shopping for the best deal for you instead of just committing to that one deal. And
not only just the best deal, but the best rate as well.
Yeah. Right. So don't shortchange yourself would be my advice, and check out the mortgage brokers before just assuming.
I mean, check out your bank if that's what you feel comfortable with. Check out your bank, but I would also encourage you, as soon as you get that loan estimate, to check with a couple other people just to make sure that you are getting the best deal. Sometimes you are, sometimes you're not, but it doesn't hurt to find out, and it doesn't have to take a credit pull or anything just to see if you've got your loan estimate that's been issued to you by your bank or who you're going through, or even if you're another broker, another lender. I just encourage everyone just to
do your due diligence.
Yeah, and just doesn't cost you anything to just check and make sure that you're getting the best deal. And it's a big commitment. So you want to make sure that you have someone that is knowledgeable and that's actually going to be there for those questions after the closing as well. Yes. And again, that goes back to my quote earlier, is that no matter who's servicing your loan, I know a lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, I closed my loan with such and such and they sold me to this person. They're not really selling you. We don't sell people.
Yeah. You're giving you the information.
They're servicing the loan. Who is servicing your loan? It's just like if I kept every loan that I've ever closed and I tried to service it myself, that would be next to impossible, because I would not be able to give them everything that they need to keep it flowing, like all the back end stuff. There still needs to be a team there. And so I don't want to take that away from what I said, that we're there for any questions that everyone has, because I still want to be able to service my clients, but there's a certain level of service. I may not be able to post your payment or do this or all the back end stuff as far as sending out your statements and things like that on your loan. But if you have a general question or you need assistance with why something might be adjusting or why something might be changing, we can help you with that. And so that's what I'm meaning as far as, we're there to help service them even after the closing with any questions that they may have or things that may come up that they may not understand.
Yeah. And you kind of pride yourself in that you are, you don't just service the loan and bye-bye. See you later. Bye, Felicia. Call me next time you have you're in need. You kind of, you take great pride in after that loan's closed, if they need anything, you're there for them. And I think you should. I think that's a great thing in a separator with HomeKey Mortgage over maybe some of your competitors.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned this a little bit, but how much does it cost to get pre-approved?
Nothing.
Nothing. You're kidding me.
Nothing. You
can't beat nothing, folks. I mean, zero. It don't get no better. How about, Tiffany, let's say, I don't want my credit pulled, but I want to come and I want to just kind of talk about mortgages and options that may be available. Do you have to pull my credit right there at the beginning, or can you just sit me down and just say, okay, here's what we want to do? Now, I can't quote you, obviously I can't quote your rates or tell you, what type, but I can certainly tell you what the process is going to be and kind of explain to you the steps.
Absolutely.
You do that? How much is that?
Nothing.
Again, folks, did you hear that? Zero. So, and if you're not going to, if you are in the market, if you are looking to get in the market to purchase a home in the next 6 months to a year even, it may be a good idea to contact the folks at HomeKey Mortgage and just try to set something up where you can discuss your options, the steps. Maybe they need to start kind of watching some credit things and they don't know what they need to watch. And,
absolutely.
So guess what? Miss Sicard over here can tell you everything you need to know about that. Now,
hi, this is Crystal Hardison from Southeastern Livingston Center. I'm the director, and you are listening to Local Leaders, the podcast.
One thing that's on the rise, especially due to COVID-19, is the amount of bankruptcies, like nationwide. Many folks, through no fault of their own, maybe they lost their job and due to bankruptcy, or maybe their job got shut down. whatever. Does bankruptcy automatically disqualify you from getting approved for a mortgage?
Just depends if you've declared bankruptcy and you've began reestablishing your credit. And so that's always important.
Good point.
Is to begin how soon after your hardship, your adversity, whatever you went through that may have caused your bankruptcy, that you started reestablishing yourself. If you went through a bankruptcy and then you opened a whole lot of credit cards or a whole lot of accounts and you just stopped paying them again,
that's
then
not good.
that's not good. But if you are genuinely trying to reestablish yourself and overcome what you may have went through that caused your bankruptcy, they take all that into consideration as far as some of the red tape that they're able to peel back when you're looking at programs and purchasing after a bankruptcy and things like that.
Okay. And that's some great advice. So it doesn't necessarily automatically disqualify you. It's something where Tiffany would have to sit down with you and kind of look at the circumstances and things like that. And even if you don't qualify necessarily at that time, guess what she can do? She can kind of tell you the steps you need to take to qualify.
Absolutely.
And so don't give up. If there's some people out there, they own restaurants. They got shut down for 3-4 months. Some of these people could not weather that storm no matter how hard they tried. And those things are taken into consideration. And even though maybe today you can't, qualify for a mortgage, it doesn't mean that Tiffany can't tell you when you can.
Yeah. Or at least give you a plan.
Yes, exactly, which is important. So, I'm kind of a homebody, Tiffany, and I don't want to have to go apply at HomeKey Mortgage and make an appointment and all these things, because I get these ideas late at night, right? So I'm sitting at the computer all the time. Can I apply online?
You can apply online.
Oh, really?
We have a link. Each one of our loan officers, depending on who you're working with, has their own individual website, and you can go to that website and fill out an application, and it sends you an email once you've completed it. And 9 times out of 10, sometimes it gets hung up in email world, but it sends us a notification to let us know that you've applied, and we go and pull that information, and we give you a call and let you know that we received it. And a good loan officer is going to go through that application with you before actually pulling credit to make sure that all the names are spelled correctly, because one of the things that we see a lot is with our juniors and seniors and our trays, our threes, and things like that. I always try and encourage the online application over the one that folks liked it, because I still have folks that just want to give their information over the phone, and I get it, and I'm all for that. Sure. However, if for some reason a B sounds like a P or a T sounds like a P, and because they got some last names out there.
Look, we in close to Cajun country around here.
Right.
Half the
right.
It's a little pronunciation.
If something's not
issue.
spelled correctly, that could cause another hard inquiry on your credit when we have to fix it. So you want to make sure that all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted, and that no numbers were transposed, and the name spelled correctly, and date of birth was entered correctly. And so it's important that once we get that application, to go over it with that potential homeowner buyer, and make sure that everything is in there correctly and it's being pulled correctly, to where we don't have to put that other inquiry on their credit.
Yeah.
So
excellent. There you go. You got an option. See,
yeah,
you don't even have to go in there initially. You can just do it online. And some people are, that's how they want to do it. And so
they can call us and we'll take it over the phone.
Yeah, there you go. Now, some may assume, Tiffany, you can only broker mortgages where a client is purchasing a new home. So do you do refis of existing homes?
We do.
Awesome.
Absolutely. That's
good to know. So don't feel like if you're not buying a new home, you still can't go through a broker. You absolutely can, and that would be HomeKey Mortgage. And so they will offer refinancing of your existing home, which is huge right now, because the rates are still, look, Have rates creeped up a little bit? A little bit. They're still historically low. Still historically low. So that's not going to be that way forever. Eventually, it's a cycle like anything else. Nobody knows, when this is going to happen. It may be years and years away. It may be tomorrow. So if your rate is higher than it is right now, you can get with these folks and they can kind of tell you what you can save. They'll show you the options and so definitely get with them on that. Now, true or false, a conventional loan can be used for a primary home purchase, a secondary home, or a refi.
Correct.
It can be used for all three.
True.
Perfect. So, and if you're curious why I asked that, there's FHA loans, which can only be used to purchase a primary home, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, so there are some differences there. We're not going to get too much into that because last time she was making fun of me because I didn't know that. I didn't know a whole lot. And I was trying to flex is what I was trying to do. Like I knew, and I was like, yeah, she got me on that one. But she did. She educated me and I learned. And now I know not to talk finance with Tiffany like I know because I did not. Do you offer appraisal waivers?
There are loan programs out there that will allow for an appraisal waiver if you have someone who is trying to refinance conventional and they have really good credit and they're putting they have a considerable amount of equity. And they're not self-employed. 9 times out of 10, they will probably get an appraisal waiver. You have streamlined refis that are available out there for your governmental loans, such as FHA and VA and rural development. And in some of these streamlines, they don't require, if you choose that option of loan, that you don't even need an appraisal. You don't even need all the docs that you needed whenever you purchased. It's very streamlined. So if you want less paperwork and you have a governmental loan, it may be something you want to look into because it's going to be no out of pocket money most of the times. And I think the reason why I make that statement is because a lot of people did some forbearances and things like that last year, and so their balance may have creeped up a little bit. And on the streamlines, there's a formula in doing that. But most times, you don't have to come out of pocket with any money, and you can roll those costs back into the loan, and you still come out ahead, and you're able to get a much cheaper note and payment and rate without having to pay a whole lot of money to do it or upfront expenses or things like that. That's
a great point. And if you hear thunder in the background, it's like totally storming outside, and it reminds me of Garth Brooks at the beginning with the thunder rolls. You hear that little part. Yeah. I can hear it in my headphones. It must be
we're trying to roll the thunder and mortgages today. Come on.
That's right. We planned that around the storms. Yeah. Would you say that now is, and I know it's going to sound cliche when I say it, but now is the best time kind of to get refinanced with interest rates still being so low? I mean, is it a good time right now?
Absolutely. It's always a good time. If you can save money anytime, in my professional opinion, it's a good time. You'd be amazed some of the rates that we had last year, and you would think that everybody was just striving in all the refis, but in all honesty, it's not until those rates start going up that we actually see that chart go up. It's because people start panicking. Oh, rates are going up. I'm like, I told you. They're like, oh, well, I heard that interest rates dropped to 0. Well, there's still a price in doing business, and those lenders that are out there lending money, they still have to make money. They have employees they have to pay.
It's zero to the banks,
it's
not
zero to the banks,
consumer.
not zero to the consumer. So there's still that price of doing business. So just
be aware of that.
Be aware of that,
right.
And then just know. Once the public has known what rates are going to do or that rates are going to drop, our markets have already adjusted. So when we're telling you, hey, this 2.5 is the lowest it's going to go, we're probably right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Great advice.
might want to do it.
Great point and great advice. Black Sheep Creative understands the importance of digital marketing and your return on your investment. It's their aim to provide professional web and graphic design services at a price point that smaller businesses and startups can afford. Get in touch with them on the web at blacksheepcreative.com. Now we do fun facts on this show, Tiffany.
Goodness.
Yes, and they're so fun. This is Casey's favorite part. See, she's dancing over there. She loves fun facts. But for you, we did fun facts on you. Usually I do it on the subject, but I found you so interesting that I did fun facts on Tiffany Sicard so people can know her even better than they already do after this episode. So, number one, you were once a reserve police officer.
Yes, I was.
Very interesting. Awesome. Where at?
I was in Denham for a little while,
Okay.
and then I was in Walker for a little while. Again, we all have cracks, and we all have adversities we go through. And
Yeah.
my children would visit with their dad on the weekend, and I needed something to occupy my time. And I said, what better way than to get back to my community and get involved?
Well, I'll
and
tell you.
so I had actually got a blowout on the interstate one night, and Mr. Leroy Goldman, awesome man. It's the first time I ever met him, and he was like, we started talking and trying to get the interstate cleared up. They had dropped some logs or something, so there was like 5 or 6 cars along with mine that had a blowout, and he was like, you'd probably make a really good reserve officer, because I was talking to him about, just some of the things that I had gone through and what my passion was and what I wanted to do as far as a change. And, if I felt like if I can change one child and I'm making a difference, to show them that someone cares. And he's like, you'd be a great fit for this. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go try and do it. And so went out there to Denham and applied and got accepted and started going through their little academy there and met some great guys, a lot of friendships, and really is a family when you become part of that organization. And it just kind of stuck with me. And then a really good friend of mine was at Walker, and so I transferred over there and worked there for a little while, and then was about to get remarried and kind of made the decision to step away from that a little bit, because I was going to be having another child and I might need to be at home. And so kind of gave it up to my spouse, who turned his career that way, and I just stuck to mortgages and given to my community in other ways.
Well, I think you're right where you need to be on that. You have a passion for sports cars.
I do.
What's your favorite?
I love the Audi.
Yeah.
I'm not quite that level yet, but that's probably my favorite car.
Yeah.
It's always been a goal ever since I was a little girl. Something about those 4 rings. I don't know if it's an Olympic thing, trying to get that golden car. I don't know.
Audis are nice. Audis are nice.
It's kind of hard to trump the one I have now.
I agree.
I love Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
It's my baby.
I agree. You are secretly a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. Where did that come from?
A very funny story. You see, they used to have coaches back in my day where whenever football season would come out and PE, all the NFL teams would go into a hat, and you had to draw out what your team was for that year. And I guess it's kind of how guys play fantasy football now, but it's kind of how we played fantasy football back then.
Right.
And then at the end of the year, whatever 2 teams won, you went to the Super Bowl, you got like this little award at the end. And Coach Burge, actually, He was our coach. But he started it, and me and my sister I caught up with her in the 6th grade. She got held back, and we ended up in the same grade. And so she had a team, and I had a team, and mine was the Philadelphia Eagles. And I just always followed them ever since. I don't know what it was, but I guess that was just our thing that we had together because we were always in competition with each other. I guess now I look at myself as I'm my only competition, but when she was here, that was our thing. And so, that's how I picked the Philadelphia Eagles and still watch them to this day.
Yeah, Donovan McNabb. I used to love him as quarterback.
Yeah.
You have a black lab named Smoke that flunked out of canine school?
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's a pretty awesome pup.
Yeah.
He's kind of been our saving grace for our little Abigail. She struggles with some things, and he's kind of been her medicine.
Her mortar.
Yeah, he's been her mortar. And
awesome.
Saturdays and Sundays, you'll find that child outside. Literally, we've got a little igloo house outside for him when he's out there, and you'll catch him in there, her with a pillow up and looking out all through the yard. Can't find Abigail anywhere, and you can find her in the little igloo with Smoke, just
awesome,
playing it up.
How cute.
Yeah,
How
he's
cute.
awesome.
Now, March is Women's History Month, as we know. And in honor of this, Local Leaders of the Podcast has selected 5 of the top female leaders in our community to recognize for their community leadership, both inside and outside of business. Now, it's our honor to present you with this plaque recognizing you as a 2021 Local Leaders Leading Lady. Thank you for all you do for the Livingston Parish community. Tiffany, you truly are a leader. I'm honored to do this podcast with you.
Honored to be
I'm
here.
even more honored to call you my friend, and I mean every bit of that. Did you have fun today?
I did have fun today.
Wow.
I'm not only your friend, I'm your mortar.
You're my mortar girl. That's right. That's right.
We talk about that all the time.
We talk about it all the time. It's a huge thing. Tiffany, where are you located in Denham Springs? Again,
1113 South Range, Suite 140.
okay. And you have a Facebook?
I do have a Facebook.
All right. Shout that out. Is it HomeKey Mortgage on Facebook?
It's
as easy
HomeKey
as
Mortgage, LLC for our Denham one, and HomeKey Mortgage for our Hammond. But you can Google HomeKey or Google my name, and
You'll
you'll
pull
find
all of that
There's
up.
several pages.
You'll find the website, and on that website, you get, like we talked about, if you want to fill out an application there, you can.
Yeah.
All you listeners, give them a like on Facebook. I know they would appreciate it. I want to thank Casey McMurray, who is in the background here, for all she does as her role of executive producer of Local Leaders, the podcast. She is invaluable to our success. I want to thank everyone out there for viewing, listening to Local Leaders, the podcast. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe to our page as we strive to spotlight small businesses in our community. Thank you to all our sponsors, including Premier Credit Corporation, Tricia Johnston Realtor, Big Mike, Sports Bar and Grill, William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance, Sporting Center, Black Sheep Creative, SR Enterprise Painting, Elisa Barrett Interiors and Custom Workroom, Giot's Plumbing, Tiffany Sicard of HomeKey Mortgage, Buddy's Barbecue, Denham Springs, and iTrade Exchange. We could not do any of this without all of you. Until next time, I'm Jim Chapman reminding you, love your community, support local business, and keep leading. Thank you very much for coming on. Dane Arnold with iTrade Exchange has been enabling small business in the Livingston Parish area to save cash through his network of over 300 participating Livingston Parish businesses. Saving cash by trading services with other exchange members is what iTrade Exchange is all about. For more information, contact Dane Arnold at 225-205-3645. or visit iTradeExchange.biz.